Hey everyone, Laura here from Metal Wani. I'm very excited to share with you part 2 of my chat with Dave Lombardo. In this part, we talk about Suicidal Tendencies, the Misfits, and a really cool project he did back in the 90s. Hope you enjoy. So I would like to get on to talking about Suicidal Tendencies, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You guys played a free concert the other night in LA, which was cut short by the cops. Do you know what happened there?
There was nothing really happened. I mean, to me, my opinion of that show on Sunday is the cops just wanted to raid it for no apparent reason because it was a peaceful crowd. They had about 250 people inside of the gated grounds, but there was probably another 300, 400 people outside, probably more. And they started, trying to open the gate to get in, and they figured it out. They slid it open, and they charged the stage. Then I guess the police said, okay, you need to cut it down. One more song and that's it. And so we had to do it. So everybody was disappointed. I think it was after 4 or 5 songs, but everyone left peacefully. The riot squad was there. Helicopters were hovering over. So it was exciting. It was typical. It was a typical 80s punk rock show out in the streets. And I loved it. It was exciting. Everyone had a great time, and everyone left in peace. Nobody, got a billy club to the head or anything. So, we were happy.
You've been playing with Suicidal Tendencies for more than a year now, and you played on the latest record, World Gone Mad. Fans are loving every bit of Suicidal on the road, as well as the record. How's it been so far with Mike and the other guys?
It's been amazing working with Mike Muir and the rest of the band. I've been a fan of Suicidal Tendencies for, since probably 82 when I first saw them play, in Orange County, a neighboring city. And, working with him now, just the music, listening to the music and the style just brings back a lot of memories, really good memories of the Slayer Suicidal years, when we used to tour together and just enjoy Suicidal's music. Let's say in the van when Slayer would travel across the country, in a van, we would listen to Suicidal and other punk bands as well. But I remember in particular, Hanneman and I, trading off lyrics, singing along to Suicidal records,
Bringing back some great memories and helping you relive those a bit.
Yes, very, very good memories. And even on stage right now, performing with them, it's just, a lot of fun. It's just a great band, great organization. And I love the World Gone Mad album. It taps into a different style that I'm able to play, a little more groovier, funkier, but still the punk edge, So it's just another perfect album to add to my my list of albums I've recorded.
I found out recently that you actually recorded the drums at the end of the recording process, and apparently drums normally get laid down at the initial stages of recording. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the music was done, and it was recorded with another drummer, so they decided to wipe his drums and give me a clean slate.
Wow.
Kind of like how we did with Patton.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat with it and listened to it and recorded it in a couple days.
Was it a challenge for you doing it that way?
Yes, it was, and it was a challenge, but yet it was a lot easier than other ways I've recorded, because the vocals were already there, the guitar leads, were all laid down, so I was able to follow the vocals and the leads, to change from one section to another. So it wasn't like all I had was the rough, the foundation, just the rough tracks. And I had to figure out, okay, what's the verse? What's the chorus? Where does that lead go? I didn't have to do that. As I was learning the songs, I was able to follow the vocals as well as the leads, and I knew where everything was. So it was a little easier, but still it was challenging because I had to lock in with the metronome they had laid down, and of course the guitars and the guitars and the vocals. So it was a bit challenging, but yet on the other side it was easy. So it was just a whole different process that I'm used to.
Great. Mike recently said that World Gone Mad is probably the last Suicidal album, although Dave keeps asking me, let's write new music. Do you think there will be another Suicidal album in the future?
I hope. I really hope. I feel like that guy has a lot more creativity in him and a lot more energy than to throw in the towel. I feel, I feel Mike is on top of his game, and he's got a great band and great history with this band, and I think that we should keep going. And I hope he does. And I'm not gonna stop, asking him, to record. I'm going to make sure that, I keep bugging him. It's like, man, we got to record. Let's do some recording. Come on, let's record another album. Why not? So I think, yeah. I try to motivate the musicians I'm with because there's no reason to stop. You got to keep recording. You got to keep creating. It's what we do for a living.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So moving into the Misfits work that you've been doing, how has the experience been playing with them on the reunion tour?
I loved, first, just to kind of give you an idea of what my history with the Misfits are, their music never crossed my path. In other words, when I got into punk, I got into it after Misfits had broken up, and I really never went back and listened to their music, because then I started hearing about Danzig and his projects, and so I got into more like Minor Threat, Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys, DRI, Verbal Abuse, more of the more hardcore style of punk. But now, going back and listening to this music that they recorded in the late 70s and early 80s, I found these songs to be like jewels. Like, these songs were amazing. How could I have overlooked this music through all the years? So I've kind of discovered Misfits as if it was a new band, and I had to learn their music. And I fell in love with it. I love the music. I love the songs, the structure. They're very short, but they're almost like, radio songs. They're like radio hits, all of them, and they're great bodies of work. So I'm a big fan, and working with them, it's been an honor to work with a band with such, profound history, in the punk scene, because I was able to hang out with Jerry Only during the rehearsals, and I stayed over at his house, and we'd stay up late and talk about bands that used to like Black Flag used to stop by the Misfits house, and they used to crash in the basement, and of course there used to be parties, and he was telling me stories about the Sex Pistols, when they came into town, and how he had to, drive them around, the city. And so there's a lot of history, and, working with Jerry and Glenn and Doyle has been an absolute pleasure, and I was really honored when Glenn Danzig, called me and said, he'd liked for me to be the drummer. He says I was his first choice. And so it's awesome. It's a really good feeling. I'm in a good place in my life right now.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got some amazing things on the go, and it's just so great to hear, Dave.
Yeah, I have there's a lot of positivity. I've surrounded myself with positive humans, You know, I refuse to be around anybody that's negative. You know, you could be hardcore pissed off, be a punk rocker, but if you have a bad attitude, I can't deal with that. You know, so I'm surrounded by, you know, really positive people and good organizations.
Amazing. So there is one project that you worked on a long time ago, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but it's something I've been really excited to ask you. Back in the late 90s, you worked on a project with someone called Lorenzo Aruga. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, where you drummed over a bunch of Vivaldi compositions. Can you tell me a bit about that project and how you ended up working on it?
Actually, it was really interesting. The singer for a metal band from Italy called Bulldozer, his name is Alberto Contini. Really interesting character. And he, I think his family owns a classical record company, like a classical music record company. And he thought of this idea of putting together, you know, my drumming style together with some classical musicians. And he pulled from an idea of a book, oh God, I can't remember the title of the book, but the last name of the author is Carpentier. And his vision or his story was how music would have evolved if in the 17th century, 16th century, whenever Vivaldi was, you know, alive, if they had collaborated, if Vivaldi collaborated with a Cuban drummer or a Cuban percussionist. So I don't know the details of the story because the book was written, I believe, in Spanish or French. So it was an interesting story that this author wrote, and so what he tried to take was, okay, well, let's put a Cuban drummer, and let's put him in the studio with some classical musicians and see what happens, and let's record. They told me not to listen to any of the music. They told me to just show up, and that I will learn everything, and they will improvise with me, you know, in the studio. So when I went in there, I said, okay, we're going to perform this one, and then Lorenzo, the director conductor of the band of the orchestra, you know, he would explain to me, let's say La Tempesta. He would say, okay, this is very stormy, it's very exciting, this is part of the four seasons, and you know, we need for this piece. And he would explain each piece to me, and then I would go in there with those thoughts and then start performing with the musicians. I would have to make notes and map out some of the music, but most of it was improvised and, you know, and learned on the spot, you know. Mm-hmm. So it was really exciting. I would love to do it again. I've been offered to take, you know, some classical musicians and perform that album live.
Oh wow!
Which I'm still considering, but I don't know if I can pull that off right now. Yeah. But I think it might take place somewhere, you know, either in Germany or in Poland. So I would have to fly in there, you know, probably a week before and rehearse with the musicians and try to perform this live, which is possible. But it's going to take some work. But yeah, I love that album. I'm very proud of that album. Yeah. It was very marking, you know, in my life because it kind of showed everyone, the world, that I was much more than just a metal drummer.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you ever decided to take that to the live stage, I feel like you might know someone in your network who has some experience working with the symphony in the past. So you might be able to get some coaching tips.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, both. There's Patton and John Zorn. They all work with classical musicians. Okay. So, yeah.
So I have one more question and then I'll leave you to it. And it's just back to Dead Cross, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the record comes out on August 4th and you're doing a couple of shows after that. Is there any hope that you might be expanding your tour dates to include places like maybe Canada first off, and put my hand up. And Europe?
Yeah, they've asked us if we're playing Canada, but we haven't set any dates yet. There was one show that was almost booked in Toronto, but we weren't able to make it happen because of routing. Dead Cross is playing Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. Vancouver, take note. I'm in Calgary, so I might see you there, Dave. I might have to pop on over.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Hey, listen, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to share? I know that we covered a lot, but did I miss anything, or did you want to add anything else?
No, except that I'm looking forward to taking this band on the road. I'm looking forward to working with Suicidal in Europe for this whole month. Just getting out there and playing all the major festivals, and there's more to come.
Amazing. Well, Dave, it sounds like you are in an awesome place right now, and I'm just so happy to hear about all of your projects, and I'm so happy to hear the stoke in your voice. It sounds very clearly that you are just so happy and so excited and so passionate. So Thank you so much for sharing that with me, and I hope everything goes well with the release and with the tours, and hopefully I'll see you in Vancouver.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.